Hey, what's going on out there, Atlanta Falcon fans? It's your boy Antoine Smith, man, Smitty Sports Machine. Y'all know how I get down, man. Y'all know how I do it all the time. Before y'all come in, man, please go ahead and press that subscribe button, man. Help your boy. I got to get back into the algorithm because the algorithm been cheating me, man. So, yeah, I got a good little bit of subs, but I got to start from the bottom like everybody else because sometimes it's just like that. But
Mm-hmm.
if y'all been here before, y'all know who that guy is at the top right hand corner of the screen. But before we get to him, my boy Chris, tell the people what's up right quick before we get to rolling.
Hey man, just happy to be on here with talking Atlanta Falcons draft needs, man, tonight. With John Abraham, friend of the show, saying like been a minute since we've seen him, man. But back tonight, big night, some big draft coming up, so can't wait to get you started.
Absolute facts, absolute facts. But before we get into it, man, it's gonna be uh we're gonna hit y'all with some quick hitters. We're gonna talk about the draft. We're gonna talk about draft grade. I'm sorry, off season grades, and we're gonna let John give y'all insight of how draft night went for him. So we'll get it started, man. But before we do, man, John, if you feel free to tell everybody what's up, man. Introduce yourself, but everybody know you.
What's up, man? John Abraham, 15-year NFL player, 7 years in Atlanta, so I know a little bit about the city. Been here 19 years now, man. I guess I'm an ATLian now because
Ooh.
yeah,
Oh
man,
yeah, you certified.
I've
Yeah,
been
you
for
part of the
19
family
years
now.
now. Yeah, shit, yeah, man. I'm like, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to come on the show. Whenever Smitty call me, holla at Chris. Um, keep subscribing, get these boys all the love y'all can. They real Atlanta. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, you
Yes,
know it. You
sir.
know it. We try to please, man. We aim to please. But everybody in the chat, man, what's good? What's good? Quick shout out, man. Zone Deo, what's good? Dwayne Deep Ruffin, man. He out there in California, man, showing love. You said the Predator 55, my boy Tony Wright checking in. Our boy Ryan from the Bird Cage, man. We might link up Thursday, man, for the draft. So we got to work on that. Cause man, the draft gonna be lit this year.
Yeah, man.
My boy Falco Dog, Reckless Shinobi, he's in here. My boy Jew say what's up, man. Bradley Burnett, Larry, Mafia, my dude, Mafia was good. Man, but
Oh
let's
man,
get this
that
thing
minute.
rolling, man. Man, look, draft is right around the corner, man. There's a lot to talk about, man, because um if you think about what the Falcons need, it's quite a
Mm,
bit. And before we get into that, draft night, 2001, man.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina. What was your draft night experience, man? And the second part to my question is, once you finish, what feedback would you get to young guys going into draft night or going into the NFL? But first, let's start with your draft night and tell us how you felt draft night getting drafted.
Well, I know. I think what everybody probably felt was just nervousness. Even if you knew if you was the first pick or you the last pick, I was just nervous because once you get picked to the team, that's when your mind start going a little into the ease. 'Cause sometimes you get picked by a team you didn't want to get picked by. Sometimes you get picked by the exact team that you wanted. So for me, it was just trying to learn the knowledge of the team as soon as possible. Like, 'cause I didn't know a lot about the Jets. So when I got drafted, I was just like, oh hell, I don't know nothing about the team. I don't know what position they're gonna be
Right.
having me playing. I don't know what kind of coach is. So for me, it was a lot of anxiety coming from everywhere, but also it was probably the most euphoria I've ever felt in my life.
Mm,
Compared to getting my first sack, compared to getting like, going to college. But you always try to graduate in life, and I think that was one of the graduations. But that was one of the things that I worked so hard for, and you finally got it. One thing for
Right.
me when it comes to being drafted, I'll tell the guys,
mm.
wait to celebrate after you retire. like don't think you
Facts.
made it already. Don't think you made it already. Because that my big thing
Facts.
was when I got to the NFL, it was like, okay, I relaxed, but I still had the same, momentum in my mind that I wanted to be great. I wanted to be this, but also I wanted to party. I wanted to, have this type of life. I worked so hard. Now it's time for me to relax. I've done this so much, but put as much money that you think you need to put in your life, put it into your body, put it into your football life. I mean, become the greatest
Facts.
person and player that you possibly can, and create as many relationships in the NFL while you can. Not internet, not IG friends. I'm sure you can have a million friends, but you can have 10 good friends in the NFL that one day that's probably one of the guys that got cut might end up being a leader of a team one day, or he might be owner of a business that you might want to see. So I would say definitely build relationships and don't really try to cut people off. I mean, you cut people off because you have to, because that's part of life. But
That's
I
part
would
of
say
life, right?
with the relationships, try to people ask you to come to events, go to their events. People ask you to can you can you do my interview? Do the interview. Like do as much as possible. Like I would say oversaturate yourself, whether you're a 7th round pick or a 1st round pick. Oversaturate the NFL with your face. Because you see a lot
Right.
of guys that going in the Hall of Fame now. You see a lot of guys that are going on doing things like Ryan Clark. Like not saying Ryan Clark wasn't a good player, but you know him more now because of what he done off the field than on the field.
Right.
So there's
Right.
a lot of
Yeah, feel
opportunities.
that.
There's a lot of opportunities for NFL players if you just keep sticking your nose in people's faces. After a while, they might be tired of you at first, but then they know, hey, let's see if he can do. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. One time, let's see what he can do. Yeah, he's aggravating his own one. I don't really like him, but let's put him in there. It doesn't take long, and especially if you have a good career, it'll be even easier to transition. So I would definitely say, be aggravating as hell when it comes to being relationship wise. I don't care who it is. Don't ever feel scared to talk to a coach. Don't be ever like when they stop talking, that's the problem. So make sure they always got your name in the system. Don't worry about people saying you a brown nose. Don't worry about people say you kiss ass. Don't worry about people say you always doing this stuff like that. Do all that
Right.
shit. They just scared to do it. Do all that stuff that you need to do. Be all up in the coach's face. Do all that extra stuff that they say that we don't supposed to do. Man, do it. Do it.
Absolutely
Right.
facts.
I
But
got a question.
how much did Mama factor into you keeping
Uh,
a straight head during the league in the league?
Nothing. My mom wasn't really in my life like that. My mom told me just to be a man. My big thing was, and I was talking about this with my therapist. Yes, I have a therapist, and it's helped me a lot with child.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
nothing
Trust me,
wrong
ain't
with
nothing
that.
wrong with
I
that.
think all
Ain't
us,
nothing wrong with that.
just between us three guys. I don't know how y'all life was, but my mom was more of like, you're a man, you got to learn on your own. So it was
Facts.
never like, and
Facts.
I told her that was one thing that I wish, she would have gave me a little more, show me how to balance a book, show me what's the difference between credit. My first credit card I got was last year. And that's crazy because, I'm
Wow.
serious. Like think about you have millions of dollars and your credit is like 600. So it's like a lot of stuff that
Wow.
I never used a credit card. I always use debit. I always use cash. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
was watching the hustlers. I was watching the guys that had money. That's how they would spend it. Like you ain't never seen them pull a credit card out. We pull a big stack up. We pull a stack out like boom. Yeah. Blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So
Pay
it's
with
a lot of
cash.
yeah, a lot of stuff, but I don't fault her for that. I forgave her for a lot of the stuff that I helped because I felt like, if I would have had a little more, put influence from her, but also like looking now, being in my 40s, it's our opportunity to become men. Like I tell people, like I
Facts.
was 43 before I really felt like a man. I start paying attention to my stuff, and sometimes it comes different part of your life, but you always have opportunity to change it and all that. But my mom had the biggest influence on me, just pretty much like she has a bigger influence on me now than she did then. And I get what she was doing, but you gotta understand, I played sports, so I used to just watch what everybody else is doing, trying to figure it out. They got a big house, I need a big house. He got a lot of cars, I need a lot of cars. This is the perception I have to be an athlete, And so now that being a man, I don't really need all that stuff anymore because I see what kind of man I want to be compared to what I had to show, like going out all the time, doing all this. Because you see the rock and roll life, but people don't see the families, the family, like it's a lot different now because you have IG, you can see people going through stuff. You hear about so
Right.
many people, like even with the Shannon Sharp situation now, this stuff that we wouldn't hear
Mhm.
about. Even like the stuff with Tyreek Hill, like you just hear so many names, but we don't take it as hard on people now because we understand they're people. Back in the
Yeah.
day, it was like athletes,
Absolutely.
entertainers. We didn't see them as people. We saw them as like stars instead of people.
Right.
Like
Right.
even when it came to like people getting money and oh, how this guy went broke and they don't understand this guy was taking care of so many people. This guy didn't understand finances because he probably had somebody taking care of his finance and you hired your mom, you hired your dad, you hired all these people in your family. You thinking like I tried to be a Superman just because I had money, but I ain't had no knowledge on things I needed to know.
Right.
Facts.
Absolutely. You're
Facts. I
absolutely
got a
correct.
question for you. From when you was drafted compared to now, just in your experiences, what do you say would be similarities or differences between the draft process then and the draft process now, if any?
Similarities is just you kind of know where everybody's going. I mean, even though, but when I got it, you kind of knew who the first pick was, and
Mhm.
everything else was kind of like shaky. Now it's more like we don't really know who the first pick is, especially in this draft because it's so divided on like who's the best quarterback or who's the person that who's the one that people need. Like there's so many ends out right now. We don't know which end is the end that we need to take for the Falcons because everybody wants a defensive end now. It's not even close to like, but they might surprise us like they did last year, pick a quarterback and it's like, whoa, everybody. So it's going to be special this year. But for me, I think now when it comes to the picks, these guys kind of know how to handle their money. Because I'm in school now, and I talk to a lot of people about the NIL. I talk to a lot of people about, but people they have people that teach them about money.
Mhm.
So a lot of them know what pick you're going to be. I'm being the seventh round, being the third round, I'm being this, and this. Okay, I made this much in college. Okay, now when I'm going into the league, I know how much I need to be. Da 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 da. Compared to I know it's rational. If I get $100,000, I'm not rich. Not at all.
Right.
Like,
Not by
I,
a long shot.
yeah, if I'm signed in the seventh round, I can't go hang with the first rounder like that. I'm not going to be going out here doing this. So I think with me personally, like even talking to the guys when I went to the combine,
Mhm.
the knowledge that they have and the experience they have already having money before they got in the league. I had one guy. It was the kid that had to be like 21, but he came to me and he had the most serious face. He didn't ask me nothing else about life. He was just like, man, what I got to do with my money, man? What I need to invest in. And this a guy coming to college, and he was like, man, that NIL kicked my ass, man. The family and all that stuff. I was like, hey, I told him straight up. I said straight up, start telling people no and build your own life first. I say that's what if I could like restart or if I could, if I was getting drafted again today, I'd be like,
Mhm.
look, mom, I love you, sis, I love you. I want to have a family of my own. I got to build my stuff. And when I get to the point that I feel great, because like when I was in the league, when I was in New York, man, I ain't saying I was going from check to check, but it was literally like I got to make sure my sister was taken care of. I got to make sure my nephew's taken care of. I got to make sure.
Mhm.
So I didn't really have time for a relationship. Because people were like, oh, why you ain't married her? Why you didn't? I ain't had time to put somebody else, and then this person might end up leaving me. My family ain't going nowhere. And, they hype it in
Right.
our head like our
Right.
family's not going
Absolutely.
nowhere. But then
Right.
Absolutely.
next thing you know, your family leave when you bro. Like I tell
When you
people all
want
the
to do what they want. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
it always we when you get drafted, but it's you or me when you go broke.
Oh
Like
boy,
That,
you
don't
would
I
never
know?
hear them say we went broke. It always like he went broke. I'm like, yeah, but time you make it, we man, we. I'm like, man, y'all got me messed up.
And the cost of living in New York is 3 times as much as Atlanta. Just
Especially if
think
you
man.
don't
about
know,
that.
especially if you don't know anything about money. And like I didn't know
Facts.
anything. I didn't. I felt like I think a lot of us felt when we were kids. When you hear a million, you feel like that's the kind of money that you will live for the rest of your life. Like, you're
Yeah.
younger, they're like, man, I gotta, because everybody say I gotta get $1 million. I gotta get. You always think like, man, you give me $1 million, I'll do whatever. Because we put a standard on $1 million as that's the bracket that means you ain't never got to work again. Super
Mhm.
life, super lives.
Nope.
Like, and that's
Nope.
just coming from a younger black mindset. Because when you hear like, oh, that guy's a millionaire, and we always just say we don't never say we want to get wealthy. We always say we want to get a millionaire. Man, if I hear people now still be talking, they be like, hey man, if I got $1 million, you know what I'll do? Probably go
Mhm.
broke. I say you probably go broke because you thinking already that $1 million gonna solve all your problems and it don't.
And the only way to do is you make it residual income. That's the only way.
Residual income.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
got a
Flip
million
that.
dollars in the bank, if you got $1 million in the bank and you're making 100,000 something a year, yeah, you can talk a little more trash about life. You can live a little more comfortably. But once you
Right.
get $1 million, you cut that in half. That's 500K. So you got to live on that. So if you think you got a million and you balling like you got a million, then next thing you know, you got to pay property tax. You got to pay this. That's all
Facts.
the stuff that that kids got to learn for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to pay
Yeah, man.
federal tax, and they don't talk about the
Oh,
tax
that
in each state that you play in. So you
Right.
taking all kind of taxes out. By the time you get paid, you only get a third of what you signed for.
Shoot.
a
Not to
third
mention, you gotta think about your agent, your team,
agent.
entourage, your family.
All the people that you promised stuff that you didn't really know you wasn't gonna get. then,
Dang,
and
pockets
then
gonna
you
be
can
on.
have family trying to sue you, man. I had a cousin, man. Like We grew up in the same
What?
house, from the same thing. I mean, literally, we grew up in the same house and everything. This mother blackmailed me so many times. Oh, I'm gonna call these people and said you did this. I'm looking like we literally grew up in the same.
Whoa.
We grew up in the same house. We grew up in the same house, and I'm looking
Wow.
like how much I've done for you and your family or try to help, and it happened so many times. And I was like, this is amazing. And it took a lot out of me. Like the family situation took a lot because I probably lost more from that. Like I didn't care about strangers. I didn't care about friends that maybe broke around. A chick might have stole my watch. Stuff happens in life. But when it comes to
Right.
family and they do it when they know you, like you knew where I came from. You knew where I came from this. You knew I worked my butt off for this. And all I was doing is trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
done been there. Brian Peoples, what's good, my dude? We appreciate you tuning in, man. Thank you for the donation. And if
Real
y'all don't
people.
know, man, the donation is back up. So if y'all want to donate, feel free. Especially Thursday when we roll around and do the live, man. Bring them quarter nickels and dimes because we're gonna have a good time.
Yes,
But
sir. Yes.
we're gonna get into this NFL draft, man. The Falcons' biggest needs. Um, right now, as I'm seeing it, me and Chris talked about it. Is
Mm-hmm.
mainly defense. Let's just keep it real because the defense hadn't been up the part where it needs to be. So I'm starting the edge, and we're going to linebacker and then cornerback, and just to throw a curveball, we're
Mm.
gonna say wide receiver because
There he go with
it's
them
a lot of
curveballs.
there's a lot of decisions coming up in the near future.
There you go.
But let's start at the edge position, man. Edge is a position of need, and this guy that's sitting right in front of us, he is the last guy outside of Vic Beasley who had a double-digit
Ball
sack season. So Michael Walker is who the Falcons are looking at right now a lot.
guy.
They went to pro days, they went to private workouts, combine, anything you can name, they were on Michael Williams' radar. So, John, being an edge rusher in the league and looking at this draft class as far as edge rushers, is there any guy in this draft that you think could come in and make an immediate impact for the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, I just feel like we can't worry about an instant impact at the moment if you're trying to draft a rookie. Not saying that he can't. Don't expect him to be Javon Curse 14 sacks.
Oh
You
no,
want
no,
you
Mm-hmm.
no.
want to see you want to see a consistency. See his first year, you can see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he has 6 or he has 7. Okay, next year, boom, then he have 14. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that in all these guys so far: Mike Green, Jalen Walker, Gail Williams, Shamar Stewart, all these guys that are the ones that we're looking at the most. I can see them all coming in and contributing. But I think just don't put too much on as a rookie for him to be the guy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
also just look for free agent, look for somebody that you can stick in for a minute, but you want that guy to be around 10 to 12 years. Like you said, the last time you had somebody that was consistent was kind of like me. Beasley
Right.
had double, but you ain't had a consistency. So you find a rookie guy, find a vet guy that can play with him for a little while, show him the ropes, show him how to be a pro, and get him right. I met Mikael Williams, and he seems like a really cool kid, very confident. Them Georgia boys are confident as hell. That's one thing. You walk on a
great
Georgia guy,
coaching.
he gonna
Yeah,
he
great
gonna
coaching.
change. Like I said, he gonna change. They gonna change the mentality around y'all just because the confidence they come in, and I think that the Falcons being in Georgia and letting all these Georgia guys go, like Nolan Smith, Walk, all these guys going to Philly and they just making the defense look great. And this all the opportunities they could have had. I think it would be not a slap in the face to Georgia or a slap in the face to Atlanta if we don't get one of
Right.
those guys this year. But
Right.
also, I like Mike Green too, though. I like Mike Green. I think he had a good job in the combine of explaining himself and the reasons why stuff happened, et cetera, et cetera. Let that junk go. That's college stuff. Let's see what he can
Facts.
do. Hey, and I tell everybody right now, just stay from downtown, okay? Just stay from downtown in Magic City. Wait
Yeah,
till
that's
y'all
it.
wait till y'all retire and do all that. Wait till you retire. Trust me, don't
Boy,
do it.
that's
Wait till you retire. Wait till you retire and enjoy
man.
Atlanta.
It's
When you get
still gonna be
35,
there.
when you get 35, it's gonna be better. Like trust me, like 20s is cool. When you get 35, you'll think better. So wait till you get 35 to go to Magic. Just don't even do it. Just don't even do it.
And it's crazy the similarities between Michael Williams and your size. This is a prototypical size at 6'5", about 255, 260.
Mm-hmm.
So he fits right in. And one thing that I love about his game, and they've talked about it, and I've been noticed it, is the way he plays to run, and that's something that you need as an edge rusher. That a lot of people don't talk about because they always think about
We
just
don't
getting
care
after
about
the
that. We
quarterback.
don't care about that shit. We ain't worrying about that. Come on now. We talking about sacks, man. You get
Sack,
them.
baby.
You got linebacker next, so we'll talk about linebackers doing that right now. Don't even talk about no run. Don't do me like that, bro. You asked me about the draft. We ain't worrying about nobody. You can learn to run the next year. This
I'm
year we
trying
want
to
to see
tell
some. We
you.
want to see a pass rush stuff. I ain't. You know what they used to tell me? You play the run on the way to the pass. So we good. Okay, we
True,
good.
true,
You
true.
know what
That's
I'm saying?
true.
Okay.
So yeah.
I never
All
looked at
right.
it that way, but that's true.
Hey, I guarantee
That
you,
is true.
hey, look, you see him have 80 tackles this year and one sack. What y'all gonna do, motherfucker? Why the hell we got this man? But let's say if he got 15 sacks and 20 tackles,
Hey, now we talking.
you
Cause we getting the
talking a little
quarterback on the
trash.
ground.
Let's be realistic. Let's not even talk about no run. We ain't worrying about that. Like, we'll teach you that later. You get your ass around that corner.
That's true.
All right, I got a question for you. All right. So start, bench, cut. Mike Green, Michael Williams, James Pierce Jr.
Uh, cut James. Give me Mike to start for right now. Then you got Jalen.
Mm. All right now.
I just
So
think, I think because of me, it's just the underdog type thing. Even though he's not an underdog, and Mike Green, I just feel like when he get going, he's gonna be something special to see. Because it's kind of like when I got booed, I was drafted early. They booed the hell. I had Sean Ellis, I had Courtney Brown in front of me. I had Brian Urlacher, which he's a Hall of Famer, so I ain't tripping like that. But
Right.
right.
I had LeVar Arrington, I had all these guys in front of me. So for me, it was like I got booed when I got drafted. So it was like South Carolina, they just booed the hell out of me. I was like, okay, cool. So when I see people that he went to Marshall, so he's not on the national championship team. He led to like FBS and sacks and whatever. But I got to kind of not a chip, but I kind of like look at him like, you know what? He might be one of those guys that 5, 6 years from now we're like, oh, guy was all right.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
I can see that. Our
Berto
boy Berto say, "What's up, man?"
said 55 on that Mike Green high.
Why not?
Okay,
Why
let's
not?
switch to the linebacker position, and this is a position that I think needs the most upgrade because we look. Caden Ellis had a career year last year. Troy Anderson still having injury issues. J.D. Bertrand played a little. We lost Nate Lamont to the Rams. Linebacker, is there any linebacker that you're looking at in this draft that could help the Falcons? I know one guy went to your alma mater named Demetrius Knight Jr. Give us a quick insight on him and if you feel like he could help the Falcons.
Well, I think anybody can help the Falcons right now, but I'm gonna stick to. I don't really care about this linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver shit. You can talk about that. That's y'all. That's y'all show. Let me go back to Kyle Kennard from South Carolina. We can talk about Kyle Kennard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
We can slide him into Atlanta. Something about it, man. I've been running into him. Like I've seen him play, and it seemed like okay in the draft I ran into him. I went to an event this weekend in South Carolina, ran into him again. It's like God is like saying, Kyle Kyle. You know what I mean? So I think he'll be maybe second, third, fourth round pick. I think Kyle will be great in Atlanta, and I'm looking forward to wherever he ends up because this guy's a hardworking guy, man. He's a family man already. He has a potential to be great, and he has that work ethic. I know Trevon, his coach from college. I know all this stuff about him, so I think he'll be a great input to the system. When it comes to linebacker, I think Kalen Ellis was actually a better outside linebacker. You can tell, and this is just my personal thing. I don't know in the draft who I can say will perfectly fit in that's going to start over him right now. So that's why it's hard for me to like kind of judge it. But I think if you watch the games, the linebackers definitely were not like attacking like it's supposed to. I used to watch the games with Maria Martin. I'm like they tackling 5, 6 yards down the field. It's hard to be a D lineman because everybody talking about how Grady didn't play as good this year. That's not true. Grady was playing his ass off. Grady was running down the field 10 yards trying to make tackles because the linebackers was getting washed down the field 5 or 6 yards, and that's just being realistic, So that's going to be definitely something they have to look at, But Caden might have a better year this year, but I think he was just a better outside backer than inside backer. And I think all on like they set on their heels a lot compared to the down low. Like if it was a blitz, now on third down, their blitzes were beautiful. Like Caden used to blitz because he's a blitzer. He's a pass rusher. So most of the time they did that, they got to the quarterback. But saying that if you watch the games, you can see a lot of. And if your running back ain't getting hit to like 5 or 6 yards down the field, it's messing up the DBs and making the linemen look
Facts.
bad. And
Facts.
trying to be a pass rusher and knowing that your linebackers and your cornerback, well, maybe one of your cornerbacks that you need a cornerback, and I'm hoping they go down south and get that guy who want to get traded. I'm talking about hopefully trade and bring that what 7 time, just crazy numbers like all pro. So many. I mean, so if we go down there in Miami, like, look, Miami, what y'all gonna give us for? We'll take him.
Jalen Ramsey, yeah.
But I think him mixed with what we got would be really nice at cornerback. And you want to see your sacks numbers change? That's exactly what I told. I remember one year I had 5 sacks. I was like, and they were just talking so much, Trail John, you're falling off, you're doing this. So, after a while, I said, turn the tape on. Show the tape. I was getting there like this, man. I'm talking about I was getting there like this, man. I think I had the most hits.
But the cornerbacks weren't keeping up.
There it is. I had
right. There you go.
We went and got Dante, when they got Dante Robinson and when they got Asante Samuels. Man, my sacks went up for like 16 and a half.
They did.
Yeah, they went up to 16 and a half. And they were like, oh, you still got it. Motherfucker, I ain't never lost it. I said, you should tell me. I promise you, I walked out the room because they was talking. And he was like, my coach was like, well, you getting there, but it's like you just a step. I said, nah, it ain't me, bro. Look how I got Drew Brees right now, man. I got Cam Newton. You see how quick that ball coming out? And Cam, if Cam ain't gonna just go down if you touch him.
Right.
This was the old Cam. This wasn't like the Cam in the Super Bowl. That one little clip they talk about. This was Cam when he was straight out of Auburn, just throwing people and stuff. So I just walked out of the room that year. I was like, yeah, y'all got to come see me. I'm leaving. You going home? I'm going home today. Yes, you're not gonna put all this on me. Like you're not gonna put this pressure on me. So I think that is something that they got to work on. But the cornerback situation, if they can go down there and get Jalen, I think that'll be I'm not saying it's gonna happen. So, but that would be remarkable for this defense.
Do you think Jalen Ramsey could play safety for the Falcons?
No, I don't want to play safety. I want to play cornerback. I don't want. I think he can play any position he wants to. It's like when people talk about like players from the past and players from like, oh, could he do this? Could he do this? Yes, because you got to understand a competitor. No matter what time you're playing, when you play the game, you could have put me in the 1960s. You could put me in 2040 or 2050. Whenever this thing, I'll be able to play because I'm a competitor and I know how to learn the game. So that's when you can just watch somebody. People say, oh, he wouldn't make it in this type. Yes, he would. Like any of these guys now would make it then. Any of the guys in the 60s could make it now because the whole preparation would be different. Like we got to be realistic. So I think if he wanted to play safety, he could play safety because first of all, being a great cornerback, like Charles Woodson moved to safety, Rod Woodson, a lot of these guys have made the switch when they and think about how much open field they have now compared to having to worry about the one-on-one. All the calls because you played corner. It's just like for me going defensive end to outside linebacker. For me, it's the same thing. Except for I got to learn. I just had to learn like the drops and everything, but it's just flowing. I knew I can pass rush better than I probably ever would in my life in the 3-4, but I was just in the 4-3 my whole career pretty much. So it's all about the competitor. It has nothing to do with where he played the position. Can he play the position? Yes, he can.
Now, is another defensive lineman at South Carolina. He's a defensive tackle, TJ Saunders. How do you see his game translating to the next level?
It's kind of hard to judge South Carolina guys because I think they all because it's personal. So it's hard to say like I want to see all these guys eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to say anything bad. You know what I mean? So I think he's great on the run. I think his pass rush definitely can get better, but I think that with all the guys in college, until you see a guy like put up numbers like ridiculous numbers, you just want to see how it is. Because I know for me, and I tell people this all the time, once I got into the NFL, football got a lot easier. I didn't have to worry about class. I didn't worry about the money. I didn't worry about all this stuff. So sometimes you see people decline because they have all that free time. Sometimes you see people progress. And my progression came, having to leave all that stuff alone that I stressed about so much in college. So that's the biggest thing for any of these athletes right now. If you can make that transition but also have a schedule and have a situation in your mind at where you want to be, what you want to do, and don't let the game of life outplay the game of football.
Absolutely
facts.
If you had to get a Falcons off-season to grade so far, what would you give them?
Zero right now. I ain't really. I don't know if y'all. I seen Stick. That was like, and I don't even know who Stick is. We trying to get
Yeah,
rid of that. We're trying to get rid of that quarterback that don't want to be here no more. So
Yeah,
for me, I haven't seen everybody name I've seen pop up. I ain't seen nothing amazing. Not knocking these guys. They might come. They re-signed a couple guys I was kind of iffy about, but maybe we got it for cheap. I was like, I don't know
yeah.
why we got offered back. I don't know. I don't know why we signed a couple of these guys back. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it is what it is. But a lot of guys got re-signed, and I can say that's okay. So I'll say a zero. I didn't see any. I haven't seen a wave yet. I haven't seen anybody that If we would have got rid of the quarterback from last year, I'll probably okay. Yeah, we got a couple picks, or we trade him. That's off the books. Great, great, great deal. We done with that. Penix makes sense now. He's out of the way.
right.
We're good. No more Cousins. We're good. But I, what do y'all think? Like literally, what do y'all think? Like from the off season, what do y'all grade? Please tell me, Smitty, Chris. Y'all tell me what y'all grade because I don't have a grade right now.
Man,
Maybe after the draft I'll be able to grade, but right now I don't have a real grade.
to be honest.
That's. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna be honest with you. I kind of feel the same as Abe. It's just like after the draft could kind of possibly be better because we know we got to nail this draft. One move that did impress me, or should I say, at least maybe think about it more, was Leonard Floyd. I did, I did like that signing, and I wonder how did you? Well, we're going to ask you about that. So how did you feel about Leonard because he is a pass rusher. And I liked his comments about when he said you can never have enough pass rush.
You can't.
So I mean, I did like that. But as far as a grade, if I could give one right now, I probably would go B minus. Because you did get some guys that's familiar, and I think that the Falcons are banking on that the scheme was just so bad that's why guys kind of like regressed a little bit. Maybe they was a little bit out of place as well too. So
On my lake.
Yeah, that
yeah,
dude. Yeah, that dude. But I go C. The only reason why I go C is I agree with Chris. I feel like they just brought everybody back that they're familiar with, that they comfortable with. But sometimes you got to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And I feel like they're not ready to take that jump yet. But in the NFL, next year as a head coach is not promised. And as I said, and I think Abe was on the show, and I said it, their biggest loss was going to be Ryan Nielsen, not any player, not any front office guy. But Ryan Nielsen was the biggest loss, and it showed last year. You probably should have promoted him to defense, to a higher position to keep him to stay. But he ended up going to Jacksonville, and I think he probably going somewhere else now. But that was their biggest loss, and it showed. But I say C because I feel like they could have upgraded just a little bit, but with no cap space, it really wasn't nothing we could expect them to get better in certain positions. But if they can get out that contract, I think next year is a better year as far as free agents and really as far as the draft. Because if that guy does not come in last year, I feel like you could make a trade for Myles Garrett or Michael Parsons because you'll be able to pay him. But since that wasn't the case, you just end up with an average grade in my opinion. But yeah, I give him a C.
And then you think about this too, having that quarterback room. It's 4 guys in that quarterback room, so we're hoping that maybe something may be coming down the pipeline as far as being able to get off that contract. I got hope because that's a crowded quarterback room now, so we'll see.
Right.
You got hope because
But
you're a Falcons fan. You gotta have hope, man.
oh, but if y'all got a question for
Meanwhile,
Abe, man, drop it in the comment box, and we'll get probably about 3 to 4 questions in, and we gonna roll. But I got one already that I saved my boy Boom. He says, who was your favorite running mate while on the D line playing with the Falcons?
Uh, all of them at one point, but I think the person that I hung out the most. Well, I had 2 guys really, Chauncey Davis and Jonathan Babineau. Those were my guys. Even though they were younger than me, those were my guys. Like wherever I go someplace, they went someplace. It was just like I remember Babs telling me off top when I first got. They said, "Man, I used to have your jersey when I was in college." I said, "Thank you for making me feel old, bro." But at the same time, having that experience with each other, man, was good, man. Babs was a great competitor. I think It's because I see him and Grady, a lot of him and Grady Jarrett in like almost some similarity. It's just that Babs just was there when I was there, so I think I took a lot of
Right.
the yeah, I might have took a lot of the stuff that he probably could have got.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy Larry
Right.
said, "What's your thoughts on Terry Fontenot?"
I love Terry Fontenot, man. He one of us, man. And I mean, he just like a guy that wants to win. And like even though he's really cool, really laid back, but when it comes to business, he's a businessman. And like I
Right.
said, one thing I can say about him, and I've been around general managers, I've been around coaches, I've been around owners. He generally loves to meet people. Like it's not like a faking thing. He likes to see the older players. He like to see the young players. He like to see everybody. He like to have a relationship. So you're not just a person that he sees your name and okay, he does the numbers. He's like, no, this guy's a good guy. I know this guy. Da, 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 da. He does his ins and outs on people. It's not just like you're a number. Like, okay, you got stats. These are his stats. This is this. No, he goes in and like, okay, well, I remember I met him at this dinner. Da 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 da. Okay, I remember him from this. He went to college here. He knows his guys. So when he brings someone in, he kind of is more personal than his business.
Absolutely,
Love it. Love it.
absolutely,
Uh-oh.
absolutely.
I see another one. I
Let's
don't
see.
even know if we even want to bring that one up. That kind of still hurt the heart.
All right, bring it up. Let's talk about it.
What I know, Meat Washington, he had one saying, would the Falcons have won the Super Bowl in 2013 if he didn't
Oh,
sprain
okay,
his ankle?
okay,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, hell yeah. It wasn't even man. Y'all don't even understand, bro. That was one of the things that I had to deal with in therapy, and I'll be.
Mm.
That is one of the things I
Wow,
had to deal with. And y'all think I'm playing like
wow.
literally
No,
because
man.
like I said, I've said this on podcasts. I didn't anything for Mike Smith because Mike Smith had my back when I went through all, and my mental stuff started way longer than when I like retired. Like it started during football, but Mike seemed to always know the right thing to say and put me in the right position. In that game, the whole time I was in that game, I was just nervous because I know how I get injured. Like it's like every time I have something good going on. Like every time it seemed like I'm going. Like I remember the year I was in New York, I knew I was going to be player of the year. End up messing up my LCL with like in the 12th game, and I ended up missing 4 games, so that was out of it. So we went to the playoffs with the Jets. I was playing good, got hurt. I'm like, come on, last game. It was like fourth quarter. Game was pretty much over. They was beating our butt, and I was like, man. But like not every day now, but like before, because I think when you have everybody has a situation like if you can change one thing about that, it'll change your whole life. And I feel like if I would have played that game, we would definitely went to the Super Bowl. We would have definitely beat Baltimore that year because 100% me would have been different. You know what I mean? 100% me would have been different. And even the games before wouldn't have been closer because I could have came off the corner. I could have been the guy with it. Like Kaepernick wouldn't have got away like he did. Like, and it would have been super different, man. I think of like even bringing it up, like you said, man. It ain't Chris. It was sensitive, bro. Like it was.
Man.
I'm saying,
Yeah, I
like
can get that.
I was
Yeah,
talking about like 6 or 7 years after the fact, and I was telling so many people like, "Oh, y'all don't understand." I'm like, well, now it's like it's part of my life. But and also with the Hall of Fame with me, if I won that Super Bowl that year, if we did
Yeah.
this, we put that stuff on there. You can't say this guy ain't did this. Even with Matt Ryan, my peoples, my homeboy, BP.
Mm.
I'm glad you brought.
No, I know
I'm
him
glad
though.
you.
No, I know him I know him since he was a child. So Brian,
Wow.
yeah, I know
I'm
Brian.
glad you. I'm
Hey, that's
glad you
what's
brought
up.
that up though, because the Hall of Fame. We talked about it before. I had to delete that video because it got flagged for some reason. But the Hall of Fame, they just announced the class, and
Mm-hmm.
me and you had this conversation. You was at breakfast, and we were just talking. What is your thoughts, and for everybody that don't know about being in the Hall of Fame, you're top 10 in sacks. You've been out the league for a while, and I don't even really think you're on the list
Uh,
anymore. You're on the senior list at this point, I think.
I don't even care. It's like I
Yeah,
care. I mean, let's
I
put it like
agree.
this. I
I
care,
know
but
what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
it's to a certain point. I know why I'm not there. I didn't get a player of the year. I didn't have this. You can tell me everything I didn't do, but you won't say what I did. And like I got numbers better than the people that are in the Hall of Fame. So it has
Facts.
Absolutely.
nothing to do with that. Like I tell. You know, when I talk about relationships, when I was saying relationships, that's
Mhm.
what I was saying. That was one of the main thing I know because if I would have built better relationships when I was in league with the media, if I did certain things, that a lot of that stuff has to do with the Hall of Fame, and people don't understand. Like, but the media, if you don't have
Character, yeah.
somebody like, oh, we want him to do this, da 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 da, it's so much politics in anything you do in life. So if you can
Right.
have that. Have that dinner with the right person. If you can go to this certain person thing, because you gotta understand, I was so it's 7 times to get they said the average is 7 Pro Bowls to get in the Hall of Fame. So I have 5. But I was an alternate twice. So a lot of these people that are alternates, you see people with these 7, 8, 9, 10. How many times there was alternates? Then they end up going to the Pro Bowl. So it's like you
Right.
got to put all if you're gonna do that with them people that go as an alternate, the people that get an alternate should be credited those twos also. Like I should be credited with them Pro Bowls. If you're gonna let them guys that go over there, once you let's say if nobody goes as alternate,
Uh-huh.
then that guy don't get credit for it. But if one guy goes for an alternate, the other guys that are in that same position should be credited too. Just because this guy didn't get hurt, and you're gonna say, but I'm saying at least say he had 5 Pro Bowls and two, you know, I guess 2 possibles. I don't know. So he had 7 and all. Yeah, he had 5 and 2 possibles.
Right.
He was 5-time Pro Bowl with 2 alternates. So
Fact.
I would have made the Pro Bowl if somebody would have not went. So so that's what's crazy to me. But at the end of the day, I had to let it go and understand that I probably won't get in the Hall of Fame, but it's okay. Because at the end of the day, I still can walk around Atlanta. I still get love here. Do I want to be? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to change me? It would change me if I go in. Yeah, it would definitely because the numbers go up when you're in the Hall of Fame. You can walk around with a gold jacket on, but at the same
Fact.
time, I'm okay. I'm okay. I think a lot of people that know the game and see my numbers know that it doesn't make sense. Like I think I'm fourth. I'm either third or fourth all time in calls fumbles, and I know that ain't nothing that people really talk about. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
force fumbles.
you in
Yeah.
the top five. You the
It's
top
making a
five.
difference though.
If you're in the top five of anything in any sport, that's kind of
Mhm.
amazing. So I'll take what I can. I think I'm in the top 10 in tackle for losses. I was, but I might have dropped out of top 10 now. But and you saying I was in the top 10 in 3 different categories at one point because when I retired, I was in the top 10. I'm 13 all time, I think in sacks. But when I retired, I was in the top 10 in 3 different categories. And I mean, you can't
Facts.
really. That's kind of awesome. And with the game changing now, and plus, I missed 40 some games. That's what's crazy to me. Like I'm like, dude, if I would have
Mhm.
played in those, if I would have got when got hurt, it wouldn't even been an option. Y'all would have had to like slid me in there so hard. So it's a lot of trash
Right.
I can talk, but also I got to be okay with it. You know what I mean? I got to be okay. And I am showing people that what kind of guy I am now. So I'm doing a lot of more stuff outside of worrying about that as much.
Right. And
Facts.
then just to your
Tick.
point,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, just to your point too about building those relationships, media is getting a lot of credentials when it comes to making these decisions about who's going in, who's getting voted for
It's
these
media.
media
It's
awards.
pretty much the media. The media votes on
Yeah.
that. It's the press that votes on who gets in the Pro Bowl. I mean, who gets in the Hall of Fame. It's not even, yeah. Which I feel like the only reason why they don't let Hall of Famers really vote is because they feel like the Hall of Famers will put their friends in before people that deserve it.
That's true.
Mm.
That's
And that does make
understandable
sense.
too.
That does make sense. But hopefully, my thing is hopefully with a South Carolina guy finally getting in, we'll get
Yeah.
more recognition because we finally got Sterling Sharp in, and hopefully that'll bring more
Yes.
recognition that South Carolina hasn't had a lot of people in the Hall of Fame. So Abraham numbers are amazing now. If you think like it's different, we would have had a lot of people. If you had a standard,
Yeah.
but South Carolina had nobody before Sterling. So my numbers are really amazing now if you look at it that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody from this school on defenses that even got close to being in the Hall of Fame. And he's got all Hall of Fame numbers. And his school, where he came from, is not known for that. It's different. You go to Miami, they have all these people. You got a different school to have all these people, and you got like numbers that they have
Yeah,
from the school.
popularity matters. Yeah,
Yeah,
popularity matters.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully this will help and bring more light to South Carolina that they do need some more Hall of Famers in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
Mm.
2 more questions and we gonna roll, man. My boy Terry say, how did your preparation change as you got older as a player?
Uh, First of all, it was mental more than physical. Um, and when I say mental more than physical, mental is like going to do therapy. Mental is watching film. Mental is knowing that you shouldn't do this that day because you got this day. Mental is telling your people no. Mental is being in the right place at the right time. Mental is being okay with taking scrutiny when you lose or when you win. So all that mental stuff is probably the thing that changed the most. When I was younger, it was all about showing people how fast I was, showing that I can get off the ball, trying to listen to everybody else, not trying to become the player that I wanted to be, but trying to be the player they wanted me to be. When it got older, it was like, what am I good at? What can I be better at? And I didn't. And I think one of the things I would have done different. I suffer from social anxiety. I know people don't understand what it means because people say, "Oh, we always see you doing this stuff with people, and we see you use it on the football field." I said I had a helmet on first of all, and I knew what the hell I was doing. No, I had a helmet, but I knew my job, so I wasn't. It
Right.
wasn't nerve wracking for me because I had a helmet on and I knew my job. So mine is more of like one on one time with people. If I got to sit down and have a conversation with people, my social anxiety would kill me. So me going to events, me doing like camps and all that stuff when I was younger, I couldn't do it. Only way I could do it, I had to like have a drink or something, and I thought that would take me away, and I could just like be whatever. But as older now, this older man now, being in my 40s, I don't give a shit now. I'm like, hell, I'm gonna be there because if I ain't there, it gonna look bad. Like I think we was just talking about this. Me and Smitty, he was asking me like, we was talking about another situation. I said, man, I just show up now, man. I just go to stuff because that's about being. First of all, I want to leave something for people. I don't want
Right.
everybody to think, I don't want everybody to think that he's better than somebody and nothing like that. Not at all. I just always had that anxiety. Like even the reason probably I wasn't a good leader is because I didn't like working out in front of people. I didn't like
Mm.
from college, like, we always had who's run the fastest. Everything was competition. And I like competition. But when it got to the point of, people watching me work out and telling me you ain't strong enough or you need to do this and you needed that. And it wasn't always bad criticism, but I knew I was a good player and I knew I was trying too much to be good for this person. And I was hurting myself. And I started like, tearing my body up because I'm overworking trying to do something for someone else. So for me, I wouldn't work out like with the teams on the off season because I used to go to Miami and I worked out with other people, but it wouldn't be like it'll be all kind of different guys, so they didn't have to know me. But I didn't like that. It was like I didn't like being like people looking at me and I got to be pointing. Oh, what is he running? What is he doing? I just didn't like that, and it was for my social. And then when I come home, I used to, and I think me being injured, I used to always run. I didn't go to the training room, so I had a training room in my house. So people probably he does. And then after like let's say if we had a Monday, Wednesday, or something like that practice, Wednesday and Thursday after everybody left. That's when I used to go watch film. I didn't go watch film in front of everybody. Like I used to go like by myself, like 9 o'clock at night, because I'm like, shit, I ain't going nowhere. It's Wednesday and Thursday. That's one of our busy days. So I used to go by myself and watch film by myself because I didn't feel like I needed to tell this person, I had to learn on my own. So it's a lot of different stuff that people didn't know that, a lot of athletes like really go through.
Yeah, I feel that. One more question and we
A lot
gonna
of great
roll.
information tonight, man. We keeping it
My
real
boy
tonight.
My boy Ryan said you spoke of small college players. How do you feel about HBCU and FCS kids getting an opportunity in the league?
It's surprising because if you look at South Carolina State got more Hall of Famers than the University of South Carolina and Clemson. So
Wow.
HBCU, think about it, Jerry Rice. There's a lot of guys that have been getting opportunities. And I think they're getting more opportunities now, but it's always been there. It's always been there. I mean, we definitely had the greatest of them that we're looking at, but it's always been there. So it's not something that I think with Deion coming and a lot of other ex-football players going to the HBCUs now, people thinking it's just new. I'm like, no, y'all got to do a little more research. They've always been getting it in. Like really just do your research. I'm saying it's more prevalent now because Deion there, like, oh, you got number one kids going to HBCUs. Now you can say that is different. Right. But they always had great players from HBCUs going to the league. But now you just have like players that are like big in high school going to HBCU. But it's always been good players in HBCU.
Yeah, you got former players being head coaches at these schools now. You talk about Deion, you talk about Eddie George. Marshall Faulk was going to HBCU, but he went out to Colorado. So I mean,
now.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's always been there, and I feel like they've just got to keep pushing and try to find a way to get these players into the main combine instead of holding their very own combine. Because to me, it just don't make no sense. Put them up against these kids at these big schools and let them see what they can do. I think that's the way you change the way drafting is. Because, like you said, back in the 70s, the 60s and 70s, you talk about guys like Deacon Jones, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice. You can just go on and on. This is where they got the Aeneas Williams. This is where they got these players from HBCUs. So why did it change? Money is the reason why it changed. So talent is still there. They just got to do their homework.
Yeah, man.
But
and some of these guys, man, you put them up against some of those big name guys. What'll happen is some of them will start, showing them up. Then we got to start having different conversations. We don't get NIL money. Then this HBCU kid don't burn them. It just different conversations.
Right. And Doug Williams is another one. Absolutely. Yep. But you got anything else before we get out of here, Chris or Abe?
I'm about to say I ain't got nothing left, man. This has been great. It's always great to talk to Abe, man, and get his expertise. And I feel like we got a different side of John Abraham tonight too. Just just a little bit more into his personal life, and just keeping it real about the draft process, therapy, mental health, because that's very important. And just so just general football, man. That pass rush, that's something that he still knows something about, and I'm still waiting for him to throw that jersey back on whenever he's ready. Come on back.
Never. Hey, that's one of the things that's one of the things therapists told me too. Hey, you gotta get over that shit. Hey, but I tell you what though, man. So I am serious about like maybe trying to get in a Hall of Fame. So hopefully I can get people to push it a little more. Like I've never liked begging for things. Like if I didn't make the Hall, if I didn't make the Pro Bowl, that's fine. If I didn't do this, that's fine. I never really was one to bitch about stuff. Like even like getting hurt in that game as we talked about. But I think for my legacy that I should at least give a little more effort personally, and I might have some T-shirts coming around or some strange stuff going on. I might have to talk to the Jets a little bit more, talk to the Falcons a little more. But I think it'll be a big attribute for the Falcons and the teams I play for if I do make it.
Absolutely, because you definitely deserve it. Before we get out of here, man, tell everybody where to find you, Chris.
All right, man. Just A1 Forever Sports. That's the platform on YouTube. Please come over, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys find your peace today. Positive energy always creates elevation. That's how you find your peace. Also, catch me on the Hawks Digest, talking all things Atlanta Hawks. I know Landry Fields just got released, and of course, we tried to drop a video about it, so catch me over there as well. Twitter, A1 Forever, Instagram, A1 Forever, and the real A1 Forever on TikTok, man. Great show again. Thank you, Smitty, John, and everybody in the chat. Salute to you.
One of your biggest fans, John. One of my good friends, Auntie Joy.
Yeah,
biggest fans right here. Been a Falcon fan a long time. And she gonna choke. She gonna choke me for not telling. Yeah, she gonna choke me. She gonna choke me for not telling.
Yeah, choke him. Like the guy up there, Smitty. Yeah, choke him. See? I told him to tell you, but whatever.
Get you.
But y'all know where to find me, man. Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Find me on the NFC South Roundtable on Tuesdays during the season. We'll be back next week on the NFC South Roundtable. Me, TJ, Clay, and Mr. Bucks Nation. We're gonna give you our thoughts and draft grades on this week's draft. So y'all gonna want to tune in to that. Also this Thursday, 8 p.m. If you want to come through, John, you can. I send you the link. If you want to come through, you're probably gonna be in Green Bay though. So
yeah, I'll be in Green Bay. I'm introducing the no, sir, no, the Jets.
Yes. Wow.
The Jets. Hey man, I can't. My ex-girlfriend, I got dumped by both of them. Okay, so. I can talk to either one of them, you know what I'm saying? Either one, both of them dumped me. So both of them dumped me. So they can't talk trash. So either one of them, I can go back and forth. Like either one of y'all. Now if I dump them, it's tough. But they dumped me, so I can go back and forth though. But yeah, I'll be
I
there.
see you. I see you
draft.
supporting both teams. I understand that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them sign your paycheck. I definitely get it. So, well, yeah, man, y'all can catch us Thursday 8 p.m. Live show, man. Y'all come through. We're gonna be announcing pick by pick of the first round. It's gonna be a long show. But last year was like 3.5 hours. So we're gonna have a good time doing this show. We're gonna let y'all in the chat to talk while the draft is going on. But I hope we get the right pick, and I hope he's the next game changer. And John says he likes Mike Green, and I'm with that. I'm with that.
Mm-hmm.
But for my boy John Abraham, my boy Chris, we're gonna holler at y'all soon, man, because it's gonna be a long week.
Oh yeah.
Peace.
Get some rest.